Hi, third grade. Wow. Hi, third graders. This week. Hi, third graders. Today's learning target is I can write equations that match story problems. So we're going to be focusing on writing those plan equations that will help us solve the problem in the future. This connects to what we did earlier this week when we were writing stories that matched real life situations and deciding whether they were adding situations or subtracting situations. This is basically the same thing, but now we're going to start putting numbers in and actually writing equations that match different problems. Remember to stay till the end for your cat picture. Okay, so when we're solving story problems and writing equations that match them, the first thing I want you to keep in mind is that they are story problems. And just like a story, they have a beginning, middle, and an end. Now, some stories are more complicated than others and they have more things in the middle, just like some story problems have more steps in them. But the basic story problem and the basic matching equation work just like that. There's a beginning, a middle, and an end. The other thing to keep in mind is that story problems are story problems. That means there's some part of the story where there's a missing number, and that's the thing you are trying to use your math skills to figure out. Depending on the story problem, that missing number could be the ending, like I had 2 cookies and then I got 2 more cookies. How many cookies did I have at the end? Do you hear how the missing number is at the end? It's that total. You can also have missing numbers in the middle. Let's stick with that cookie example. I had 2 cookies and I got some more, and at the end I had 4 cookies. So how many cookies did I get? In that bit, it's the middle step that we don't know. We don't know how many cookies I got, but we can figure it out because we know where we started and where we ended. One of the harder kinds of story problems are where the beginning number is missing. So, same cookie situation. I had some cookies. I got 2 more, and then I had 4 cookies. How many cookies did I have at the beginning? What makes that problem tricky is the fact that you don't know the beginning. You have to kind of work backwards to figure it out. But if you write a plan equation and you figure out which part is missing, the beginning, the middle, or the end, you'll be okay. At least you'll know how to approach this problem. Okay, so here's the basic outline for a story problem. Something, and then plus or minus, depends on the problem, something else equals the last part. So here's our beginning. In the middle, you're either putting things together and getting more or taking things away, but the middle is where the change happens and you have some other number. And then at the end, there's whatever happened at the end, whatever's left. Okay, so we're going to use this outline to solve a story problem. Okay, so we're going to use this beginning, middle, end idea to actually solve a story problem. Now, my mom has chickens and she gets a lot of eggs. It's kind of fun because she has different kinds of chickens and they lay eggs that are different colors, like different shades of brown, and some are even light blue or light green. And the people in her neighborhood buy the eggs. Depending on the day, sometimes she sells a lot of eggs, sometimes she sells a medium-sized amount of eggs. And one day, she sold $17 worth of eggs. And so she came back inside and counted her $17 and put it in her egg money jar. The next day, she sold $10 worth of eggs. Still a good day for eggs, but not quite as many got sold as the first day. At the end, she needed to count up her money and figure out how much she had. How much did she have at the end? Okay, now I just told you a story with a beginning, middle, and end, and there were numbers in it. Let's solve that story problem by figuring out first, were we adding or subtracting in that problem? Well, she had her first day's money. In fact, let's label that. So we'll call it day 1 money. And I'll put that right here. And then the next day she made some money as well. That happened in the middle of the story. And then at the end, she was counting up how much money in all. Oh, that's a funny shape. There we go. Okay, so this should feel very similar to the equations that we made earlier in the week when we were just doing them as stories. Was this story a putting things together and getting more kind of story? Or was this a taking away kind of story? Yeah, it was putting things together. We took the first day's money and we added it to the second day's money to get how much money in all. All right, to solve this problem, we're going to change these word labels into numbers. So, when I told you the story, I said on the first day that she made $17. And I said on the second day, she made $10. We don't know how much money she has in all yet. You might have already solved this in your head, and you might know, but the story didn't tell us. In the story, this was our mystery number. And when you're typing these, put a question mark for the mystery number. Sometimes when we're solving them on paper, I like to draw like a mystery box that you can put the answer in. But when we're typing, the easiest thing to do is a question mark. So that's what we will use. Look at that. We took a story and we figured out what equation matched it, whether it was adding or subtracting. We put numbers at the parts in the story where there were numbers, the beginning and the middle, and we figured out that our mystery number was at the end. We're ready to solve it. That's actually all you have to do today. We're not actually going to be solving the problems. You can if you want to, but today I'm really interested in, can you read a story and write an equation that matches that story? Can you make a plan equation? So that's what we're going to practice in our Google form. I'll show you what I mean. To be writing equations to match story problems. Now, you don't have to solve the story problems. You just have to write an equation that matches the problem. So here's what you do. First, put your name so I know whose answers match with which kid. Okay, so first one, I'll do this one here in the video as an example. You're going to write an equation to match this problem. Now listen to the story and really picture it so that you can figure out whether we're adding or subtracting and what's happening at the beginning, the middle, and the end. Connor and Carlos are doing a puzzle. The puzzle has 16 pieces. So far, Connor and Carlos have fit 9 pieces together. How many more pieces do they need to fit together to finish the puzzle? So if I was going to write an equation for this, I could picture it, well, I could picture it 2 ways. The first way I could imagine it is that in the beginning, there is a pile of 16 pieces, and they subtracted 9 away and assembled the puzzle. They were taking them out of the pile, which means the mystery number would be at the end, the question mark. Remember to use a question mark to show where the mystery number is. But you could also imagine this as an adding situation. you know that they put 9 pieces together and they're going to add some more. We don't know how many more they have to add to the puzzle, but we know at the end the puzzle has 16 pieces altogether. So either one of those equations would be correct in this short answer box. Remember though, your equation has to match what's happening in the story. It has to make sense with the story. So whether you're imagining it as an adding situation or subtracting situation, it has to jive. I couldn't do mystery number minus 16 equals 9 because that doesn't make sense. The puzzle has 16 pieces. It doesn't have a lot of pieces and then you are using 16 of them and then 9 are left. It has to match. So don't forget, whether you're adding or subtracting has to make sense with the story. Your beginning, middle, and end has to make sense with the story. And use the question mark to show where the missing number is. Next week, we'll actually start solving it and figuring out what the missing numbers will be. I'll read you the rest of them just in case that's helpful. This problem says, write an equation to match this problem. Maria has 9 stickers on one page of her sticker book. She has 6 stickers on another page. How many stickers does she have in all? Write an equation to match this problem. I repeated that. Let's fix that real quick. There we go. So again, write your equation to match. Here's another. Jessica has 16 marbles. 7 marbles rolled under her bed. How many marbles does Jessica still have in front of her? Write the equation that matches that situation. 2 more. Charlie is 42 inches tall. His brother Dan is 37 inches tall. How much taller is Charlie than Dan? Make sure your equation matches and you use question marks for the missing number. Last one. Raven and Sam are playing a game with 20 marbles. At the end of the game, Raven has 13 marbles. How many marbles does Sam have? That's all for now. I'll see you in the next video.